Are you struggling to get a down payment? We know it's the #1 obstacle to home ownership for many people in the United States, whether it be student loan debt or low wages and high rents. There's a variety of reasons, but if you really want to make home ownership happen, you can make it happen. And in today's video, we're going to talk about ways that you can set money aside and get yourself ready for that down payment. So stay tuned. Hey, Laura Gallant here with Mountain Prairie Living and powered by ERA Shields. And on today's video, I'm going to offer you tips and ways that you can put money aside to save for the down payment. Now, the overall goal would be 20% down payment, but that's not the only way you can get into a house. But with the other ways, there's some increased debt to income ratios and such. So let's get into it. First one, tax return. We're coming up on that. Save your tax return. And if you had stimulus checks and you were saving those, awesome for you. But any additional funds that you receive that you weren't expecting, get them into that savings account. Number 2, set aside money. Have it automatically drafted out of your account. Every little bit counts. So set a monthly goal of savings and have it taken out of your check right away. As soon as your check gets into your bank account, have it pulled out and put into that savings account that's named down payment. Tip 3, you can actually borrow from your retirement account. Now keep in mind that if you are going to take money out of your retirement account, you will have a payment for that, and that will increase your debt to income ratio. If you want to know more about debt to income ratio, then check out that video here that I did on how to calculate your debt to income ratio. But you can grab those funds and utilize them for a down payment from your retirement account. Tip number 4, sell things you don't use. We all have things around the house that we don't use. If you haven't touched it or used it in over a year, you probably don't need it right now. And wouldn't you rather have some money in that savings account building up that down payment? Tip number 5 is hard for a lot of us. Freeze your spending. Things like Starbucks or little snacky items that you just didn't need. But bring your lunch. Instead of going out to lunch, you could save a lot of money bringing your own lunch. So put a freeze on your spending with the focus of the goal of home ownership. Every time you're tempted to make that spend, then just say, wait a minute, this is going to keep me farther away from getting into that house. So freeze your spending. Just spend on the things that you need, your rent, your utilities, and any bills that you have to pay. Tip number 6, increase your income. Get a new job or ask for a raise. So listen to these statistics. The Department of Labor reported that there are more jobs available than unemployed people. 10.9 million job openings in July of 2021, the most on record since 2020, while 8.4 million Americans are unemployed. And that's up from 5.7 million in February of 2020. There's opportunity out there. If you really want to make this happen, consider changing jobs, finding one that's going to increase your income and offer you more opportunity to save. Tip number 7, we all can do this. It's challenging though if you've got kids, but if you've got a spouse and you can partner up and maybe work this, but you can have a side hustle. And with the internet now, there's so many opportunities for side hustles, but you could deliver pizzas, you could do Grubhub just for some extra money, and all of it goes into that savings account. But you could also be a social media consultant and help somebody who's got their channel going. So if you've got video editing skills or things like social media posting, Suave, then seek a position doing that part-time at night, at home, from your own house, and get some extra side hustle money into that down payment savings account. Number 8 is an important one. If you're preparing to buy a house, pay down some of that high expensive credit card debt and stop using it. Stop using it. So if you can't afford it, then you're not going to buy it. So get that payment down, and that extra money per month that you were paying towards that credit card debt, which has super high interest rates, will start to go into that savings account. But additionally, it's going to increase your FICO score and improve your credit score. So pay down the high interest credit card debt and stop using it. That's going to help you get that much closer to home ownership and increase your down payment savings account. Now, this is what I mentioned earlier in the video. There are smaller down payment programs FHA loans, government-backed loans that only require 3.5% down payment. Now, the challenge of that is that you're going to have private mortgage insurance, which is an additional insurance because it's a higher risk for the lender. You've got less skin in the game at 3.5% down payment. But that PMI on a standard starter home could be $250 to $280 more on top of your payment. And that, of course, is going to change your debt to income ratio and the amount of money that you qualify for. So they are out there. You can get in for the 3.5% down. Just know that it will adjust your debt to income ratio and make it a little bit more challenging for the amount of house that you can purchase. But they are out there. Now, if you qualify for a VA loan, which is 100% financing, first of all, thank you for your service. I know the commitment and the stresses that come with military life, and I serve a lot of them. But if you have that VA, it's 100% financing. Just know that there's some, pros and cons of any lending that's at 100%. But that's another way to get in. You still need closing costs. They can be put into the loan, but you'll need some things like the earnest money right up front, and you're going to need money for an inspection fee. So you will still have to have some money, so saving is always good. Now, in today's market, it's a little challenging, but we are still seeing it. You can ask the sellers for some money, or what we call concessions, to help with closing costs. So it'll offset the amount of money that you need to save for, but you still need to keep saving for down payment. So you can ask the seller for money towards closing costs, which would help you get into that house a little bit quicker if you're not quite there. You have the down payment, you have the earnest money and the inspection fee, but you don't quite have those closing costs, which average about 1.5% to 2% of the purchase price. If you'd like to know more about closing costs, then check out that video there. You might not want to do this because you want to do this on your own. But if you have the opportunity, maybe you chose not to go to college and your parents saved for it, and maybe they're willing to give you that money towards the down payment of a house. So ask them. But if you are taking money from family, you're going to need a gift letter to the lender to tell them that there is no expectation of repayment, because of course that would change your debt to income ratio. But if you don't want to go there and you want to do it on your own merit, then consider all those tips I gave you before. You can do this. You can make it happen. Will you have to sacrifice? Will you have to change behavior? Yes, but you can do it. So it will take time, but if you focus on a goal, you can make it happen. Now, it might not be your dream home initially, and that's okay. You're going to put some sweat equity into it. You're going to make it nice, and then you're building equity. You're no longer paying somebody else's mortgage. You're paying your own, and you're building your own equity. And over time, that might be your first investment property as you cash out, refinance it into a non-owner occupied loan. You take that cash and you move into the bigger house, and you keep that one as a rental. So it continues to build equity. There's so many opportunities. Just get your foot in the door. Make changes to make it happen. Don't make excuses. You're not a victim. You are successful and you can make this happen. I am so glad you checked out this video. Consider those 12 tips to saving money for the down payment. It might be an obstacle, but it's one that you can overcome. And consider subscribing to the channel where I share lots of tips and information for first-time homebuyers. I want to empower you with knowledge and understanding of the real estate process. It's something that we all should achieve, and you have the opportunity to if you just choose to make it happen. So thanks so much for watching. Give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, and have a great day.